Assalamualaikum students, how are you all doing? Hope you all are doing great with the blessings of Almighty. I'm also doing fine. I'm Sonia Akhtar, teacher of Milestone Preparatory KG School, Uttara Sector 7. Today I'll be taking your science class and this is going to be on chapter 6 matter. So I will be discussing some of the topics from this chapter. So let's see what we have for our today's class.
This lecture now is 74 CW29. This is from chapter 6 matter and we are going to discuss broad question answer and creative question answer from chapter 6. So let's start our today's class.
So the first broad question is explain the definition of matter. We have learned the characteristics of matter, right? There are two general characteristics of matter, that it has weight and it occupies space. And air is also a matter. For air there is another special characteristics that it can oppose against pressure. So combining those three characteristics we can define a matter. So how we can write the definition of matter? That is, a matter is defined as something that has weight, that occupies space, and that can be sensed and resist force applied on it. Resist force means that can oppose the force, that can prevent the force applied on it. So you can also write matter is something that has weight, occupies space, and can oppose against pressure. So anything that you see around you and that has weight and occupies space is matter. You're sitting on a chair is a matter. You're studying on a table is a matter. Air is also a matter. Every matter has two general characteristics, and that is it will have a weight and it will occupy some space. This is the general characteristics for every matter. And air is also a matter, and for the air there is another characteristics that it can resist against pressure. So we can see matter in three states, and those are solid state, liquid state, and gaseous state. For example, we can bring the example of water. When water is in solid state we call it ice. When it is in liquid state we drink the liquid state of water, and when water is in gaseous state we call it water vapor. So we can find water in three states. So water is one of the ideal example of matter. So in different state the matter shows different characteristics of their shape and volume. So we can talk about those. We can add this information in this question answer. So let's see. For solid has definite shape and volume. Say for example, you want to make ice. So what do? You bring some water, keep them into mold, then you keep them into fridge. What will happen? It will turn into ice. Now if you observe that ice has the shape of the mold, which is a definite shape, right? If you bring the ice out of the mold, still it has a shape. So we can say that the solid matter has a definite shape. So the ice take up some space in the mold. When you bring out of the mold the ice, still it has some volume. So the volume is also definite for solid matter, right? Volume is the amount of space that is taken by the matter is volume. So what we have learned that the definite for the solid matter the shape is definite and volume is also definite. So for liquid matter, the liquid will have a definite volume but it will not have a definite shape. For example, suppose you have kept some water into water bottle. So that water has taken up the shape of that water bottle, and it has a volume, right? Volume, because it has taken up some space in the water bottle. Now you have shifted the water to another container like a bowl. So what will happen? The water will take up the shape of that bowl. So when you change the container, the shape of the liquid also changes. So we can say that the shape of the liquid matter is not definite, but the amount of space the amount of water that has taken up space in the bottle is equal to the amount of space that take into the bowl. That means it has the definite volume, but the shape is not definite. So this point is clear. So third point we can write here is about gas. So gas has neither definite shape or nor the volume. Why? Because when you keep certain amount of gas in a small container, it will take up the whole amount of space, because it does not have any definite volume or shape. It will take up the volume of the whole container. Again, if you shift it to another container, maybe the bigger one, it will take up the volume of that container. So because it does not have any definite shape and volume, it takes up the whole volume, whole space of the container. So this is how you can write the question answer adding this information. So let's move on to the next broad question. So next question is, how can we prove that air is a matter through experiment? We already know that every matter has two general characteristics, and that are it occupies space and it will have weight, right? So if we can prove these characteristics for air, then we can say yes, air is a matter. I'm repeating, for this question, if you want to answer, you have to prove these two characteristics. Then you can say yes, air is a matter. That means we need to do two experiments. One is to prove that air can occupy space, and another one is air has some weight. So how we can write this question answer? Let's see. So at first you have to start like as a every time that air is a matter, so we can prove it by the following experiment. You have to give experiment name that air can occupy space. We will prove this at first. So let's see, we need accessories. Accessories means what are the necessary equipment we need to do this experiment. For that we need an inflated football and a deflated football. Inflated means inside it there will be air, and a deflated one means a punctured football, there will be no air in it. So how we can make the difference between an inflated football and a deflated football? What is the difference between these balls? So at first, if you look into the inflated football, what you will see, it is looking bigger in size, right? Because there is air in it and it is occupying some space inside the football. But beside that, the deflated one, there is no air in it. That's why it is smaller in size than the inflated one. So from this we can say that yes, air occupies some space. If you want some more example, you can talk about if you think about the chips packet, when there is air inside it, it looks bigger inside. When you prick it, what happens? The air comes out and it becomes smaller in size. So these are some examples that shows that air occupies some space. Next, experiment. So what is the result of this experiment? So we can say that air occupies space. So another experiment is air has weight. So again we need some equipment for this experiment, and for that what do we need? We need two balloons. Balloons will be filled up with air, equal amount of air, and we need a sharp needle, because at the second part of the experiment we will prick the balloon so that air comes out from one balloon, and we need a beam balance to take the weight of the air. So then we will do the procedure of the experiment. After that we will write the result of the experiment. So let's see how we can do the experiment. At first, on a table there is a beam balance, and in the two side there is two balloons with equal amount of air. So as there is equal amount of air, so the balance is straight. In the both side it is having similar weight. So now you take a needle and you will prick slightly one of the balloons. So what will happen? The air will come out, right? Slowly the air will come out, and the side which has balloons with air will be heavier, and the another side which does not have air will go up because it is lighter. Heavier part will go down and lighter part will go up. So what will happen? You are pricking the balloon and balloon will look like that. The lighter part will go up and the heavier part will go down. So this is how we can say that yes, air has some weight. See, when the both side of the balance had balloons of equal air, what happened? The balance was in straight. But when we pricked the balloon, what happened? From one side air came out. So what happened? One side became lighter and another one became heavier. That's why the balance tilted towards the weight. So that's how we can tell that yes, the air has some weight. This is how the procedure is done for proving that air has some weight. So you can try it. This is very easy experiment. You can try this at your home and you can write this answer just according to your experiment, according to the procedure you have followed. So at the end of the experiment, what is the result of our experiment? We can tell that yes, air has some weight because the heavier part, the balance tilted towards the heavier part and lighter part went up. So what we can say, that we have proven that air has weight and air occupies space. That means air is a matter. So let's move on to the next question. Next question is, how can you prove that air can oppose against a pressure? For that, again, we need to do an experiment, and that is for that purpose we need to have some accessories, and just like other experiment, you have to mention accessories, procedure and result. In procedure you have to tell the process of experiment. In result, the ultimate result, that ultimate point that you have proven in the experiment. So in this experiment we need to have one inflated ball and again one deflated ball. What are we going to do is, when in the inflated ball there is air inside it, so when you punch the inflated ball or you push the inflated ball, what will happen? You will feel a pressure against your pressure. You are giving a pressure on the football, against it you will feel a pressure, and this is the pressure for the air. Because air can oppose against pressure, and if you punch it with your whole energy, you will definitely get pain, because again air can oppose against the pressure. So what is happening? You are giving a pressure on the football and the air will give you one opposite pressure. So when on an inflated ball you are giving pressure, it will oppose the pressure because of the air. On the other hand, when it is a deflated ball, there is no inside it. No matter how much you push the football, it's not going to give you any pressure back because there is no air inside it. So you are going to explain the procedure. Just according to the procedure you are going to do the experiment. So after that, what is the point we have proven through the experiment? That air can oppose against the pressure, right? So think about the football playground. What happens when you kick an inflated football? What happens? You feel a pressure, right? Sometimes it is also very, very painful, because when you kick the football, the inside air also give you a pressure. But when a football is deflated and you kick that one, this is not that much painful. Okay, because there is no air inside it and it cannot give you a backward pressure. So the ultimate result we can tell that for this experiment we can find that air can oppose against a pressure. So let's move on to the next answer. One important thing is you have to learn picture for all the experiment. You have to draw this in the exam. So learn the figure with the experiments. So fourth now question is matter takes up space. Describe it. So we know that it is one of the characteristics of matter, and all the matters takes up space, and the amount of space that is taken up by matter is called volume. And we also know about the units of volume. For solid, it is cubic meter or cubic centimeter, and when it is liquid, whenever we are taking the volume of liquid, we will measure it into milliliters or liters. So we can consider a table. On the table, suppose you are reading book. So the book amount of space the book is taking on the table is the volume of the book. And at the same time, no other matter can take up the same space that is taken by the book. Either you have to remove it, then you can keep another matter here. And then the amount of space taken up by that matter is volume of that matter. Okay, now suppose you are reading the book, now you are tired, so you want to eat something, but on the table there is your book and there is no space, and the amount of space taken up by the book is the volume of the book. Now you have no space, then what you have to do? Either you have to remove your book or you have to go somewhere else to eat. So what you can do, you can remove the book and you can bring your food, bring your plate on the table, and you can eat. So amount of space taken up by your plate is the volume of that plate. So what is volume of matter? The amount of space that is taken up by the matter is called volume, and volume is one of the property of matter. So let's move on to the next part of the. So now I will discuss the creative question answer. So I will not write the whole answer of the question. I will definitely give you some guidelines so that you can write by yourself. As it is a creative question answer, I will prefer you to write by yourself. At least try to write by yourself, and I will help you. I will give you guidelines so that it will be easier for you to try by yourself.
So the question is, one day Shima was playing with the glass and stone. She found that solid matter occupies space. Explain the experiment. So you have to explain the experiment where the equipments are glass and stone, and you have to prove that matter occupies space. Now experiment name is solid matter occupies space, and the accessories are glass, stone, and we need a rubber band to mark the water level in this experiment. And you have to write the procedure according to your experiment, then you will write the result at the last that you have found from the experiment. So for the experiment we need a glass, we need a stone, and we are taking a red rubber band to mark the water level in this experiment. So we are filling up the glass with water. Now the scenario is like that, the glass is filled up till the marked level of the glass. Okay, now when we are putting a stone, what happens? The water level goes up because the stone inside the glass taking up some space. That's why the water level is going up. So when we will remove the stone, what will happen? again the water level will come to the previous stage, just like the first scenario. So let's see what happens. Same glass, water level is still same, stone is still there. Now when we remove the stone, the water level goes down. But see, the level is quite down from the first scenario. It is a level down from the leveled mark area. Why that happened? You can tell it like it's a systemic error, because when you have brought the stone out, some of the water was on the stone and came out with this. So you can tell it as a systemic error. Because of that, the water level is below the marked area. But if you could stop the wastage of this water with the stone, then the water level was could be equal to the marked area. So that's how we can prove that the solid matters occupy space. Any matter occupies space, because when we have put the stone inside it, the water level went up, because the stone occupied some space inside the glass. So I hope you can write this in your exam copy. Just see the experiment, according to it just write the procedure, then you will write the result that yes, solid matter occupies space. So CBQ2 is the last question for our today's class. The question is, matter has weight, explain. In the broad question we have done similar kind of question, that matter occupies space, explain it. So as it is a creative question answer and you have already done similar kind of question, so that is why I haven't organized it as it should be in the exam script. I am giving you some key points that should be in your answer, and you along with that you will add some more points and write this properly. So at first, what is called weight? Weight is a measure that how strongly the earth is pulling something towards its center. We know that earth is pulling everything towards its center, we know that. So this is what decides the weight of a matter. Weight is a measure of how strongly the earth is pulling towards its center. Now there are some devices that we use to measure the weight, and that are weight scale and balance. Now we use some measuring unit to measure the weight of a matter, and the unit is kilogram. In short we call it kg. So even if you consider a small grain that has a weight, even a small particle of dust, it has weight, and bigger one has definitely weight. So we know that what is called weight. So these three information should be in your answer. Along with that, add more information and make a very good answer of this question and write properly in the exam. So homework from today's class is you will learn all the broad question answers and creative question answers, and you will definitely learn the whole chapter so that you can answer anything that will come in the exam, because sample questions are sample to make you understand that what kind of questions will come. Okay, so learn the whole chapter and learn the broad question and creative question that we have discussed today. Thank you students for paying attention in the class. So that was all for today's class. Hope the topics is clear to you. If not, you can ask in the comment section, or you can ask the questions in the Zoom class. We will try to clear your confusion and answer your queries. So hope to see you soon. Goodbye.